So I thought I'd continue my epistle to the Zoomers. Don't worry, it gets worse, is basically the message. But there are loads of these sorts of articles. Gen Z is already worried about looking old. It's like you're 25, the oldest. Calm down. And this, I do feel bad for Generation Z, because I actually do think that they've been put in a historical position where things are going to happen to them that they have no social institutions to instruct them on how to deal with these things. Because like people are sort of my age or your age, Callum is a Zoomer. We had like old sayings and like people around who knew how these things were going to work, right? But the Zoomers have been actually kind of disconnected from this kind of historical past, and so live forever in the moment. And there's add to that the sort of narcissistic nature of social media, and you end up with a generation that's used to seeing their own faces a lot. And if your face is young and beautiful, then you start noticing you getting wrinkles, and every single day you see the wrinkles on your own face. And I think this does apply more to women than to men, I have to say. Then you get this kind of effect. For instance, an influencer called Emma Brooks had never really worried about aging until she turned 20. 20? 20?
Yeah.
Hi folks, sorry to interrupt the video, but I just want to direct your attention to the aesthetics range of merch that we have on the store. These are beautiful images that I think work really well as posters or mugs. So if you want to support us, going over to the merch store at shop.lotus.com is easily the best way other than signing up on the website. What?
Well, I mean, there are some bad people who think that's too old.
Leonardo
Brooks.
DiCaprio, like.
Yeah.
So that's 26, I think.
Yeah, even Leonardo
24.
DiCaprio is like, you're not past your prime yet, love.
Got a few months left.
Yeah, exactly. Just 20. She says, I started freaking out. I look different than I did 2 years ago. How am I going to look in 5 years? When you're 25? I'm nearly 45. Thank you. Like, what is going on? The oldest among them is around 26. Gen Z is already anxious about looking older. Prevention rather than correction has become the status quo. They're opting for makeup products like with anti-aging benefits like fine line reduction, just a bunch of stuff. Basically, I'm not even going to go through it. But this is a growing market for Generation Z. So it's all like skincare products and preventive aging nonsense and stuff like this, right?
I mean, like I noticed that we're looking at the beauty section of CNN.
Sure.
I don't know if it's in here, but I can't help but wonder whether or not this is a big push by beauty manufacturers to sell more shit. Their shit is just.
I think that they're actually. I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe, but it's not just this in CNN. There are lots of other things.
Oh no, that's what I mean. Like, usually when something like this happens, there's a whole industry-wide campaign.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's always been an industry-wide campaign from the beauty industry to make women feel like they're getting ugly and getting old, and that they need their products. I mean, that's what the entire industry is.
But also,
right?
But there's also the body positivity thing that says it's okay to be.
Well, they don't say it's okay
to not fulfill standards.
Yeah, but they don't tend to praise being old. They tend to praise being fat. But so it's not that the beauty industry isn't involved in any of this.
That's what I mean. Like you can see beauty industry advisor at Circana over there.
Absolutely, but I do think in a lot of ways they are responding to this particular desire of the Zoomers, because the Zoomers are actually the ones living in the end of history, right? Like we thought that Gen X was living in the end of history, but not really. The Zoomers are the ones who are kind of habitually trained to think you're going to be forever young. You've got all the sort of filters, you've got all this, social media representation and recognition when you're very young, so you feel like this is going to be timeless, right? Maybe not.
How does this relate to feeling you're getting old?
Well, because you see yourself essentially perfect all day, every day, and this creates an image in your own mind. I mean, do you remember when Texas banned Instagram filters and women started freaking out? For a month, Texas banned Instagram filters, and women were really upset because they got to see their own faces. And their own faces didn't match what they'd built up in their mind, because when they see it on Instagram, the filtered face, they're like, oh, I'm actually attractive. It's like, you're a bit mid, actually. But the point is, this is really upsetting a lot of Gen Z women. And I'm very sympathetic to that. You don't look very sympathetic to that, though.
I'm never sympathetic, but
I know.
I'm also thinking, is this not just the newest version of that? Like, I get very bored of this idea that there's something unique about this group of young people. It seems to me when you look at history, it's the same situation but exaggerated by technological progress.
That is true. I mean, I'm not saying that women haven't always worried about growing old, and obviously, like you say, the beauty industry has always done this. But the mirror of technology and the videos, the constant seeing of yourself on social media, this is definitely doing something mental.
Exponential growth.
Yeah. Like I imagine a larger cohort of Gen Z are on social media than millennials, Gen X, boomers, etc., and they're on it from a younger age. So they're constantly looking at themselves. So if you're like 15, and you're looking at yourself, and you've got like the ultra smooth face of a 15-year-old. I guess maybe when you get to 20 and you see the very first line that appears that no one else would ever see, you're like, oh my god, it's over.
Might as well eat this shotgun.
Yeah. Well, this was actually sparked by the suicide. The reason I started looking at this thing, the suicide of a 29-year-old New York woman. And she left a note, and nobody knows why she actually killed herself. And I don't think it was over this, but that was the way that women on Twitter started responding to it. They're like, well, I mean, everyone's telling us, anon accounts telling us that, we're past our prime at 25. She was 29. Why shouldn't she kill herself? And it's like, I don't think that's why she did it. That's why I didn't include it in this. Yeah. Right. But there are people thinking this. And I was like, look, guys, it's not over, actually.
I think that shows more about them.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
They narcissistically wanted to use that event to propagate.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Because they have no idea why she did it. Right. Yeah. But the point is, this is something on their minds.
Women are more narcissistic as well.
Sorry?
Women are more narcissistic as well.
And so this sort of the combination of these things is a definite sort of perfect storm in Gen Z, where literally they're like, I'm 20, it's over. I'm gonna be haggard at 25. And so I really do think this is a social media effect. And the answer is, of course, just get off social media. But what?
I'm 27, I'm a spent force.
I know. Not even joking. And so you get people like True Beauty Ventures founder Christina Nuance, who says it's a bit of a juxtaposed generation. On one hand, they're about body positivity, authenticity, credibility. Then on the other side, they're very focused on anti-aging and use filters to put emphasis on perfection. Because, of course, the more perfect a picture you put up on Instagram, the more likes you're going to get. The more amazing responses and feedback you're going to get. And so this is the kind of hyper reality of social media versus the reality of you're a human being and you get old.
Right? Yeah. That is also a choice, though.
I think
I'm not saying it's not a choice.
No. It annoys me when people are like, "Oh, I've got to post my face because then I get likes." It reminds me of when you're listening to OnlyFans girls saying, "Well, of course I've got to do this. I've got to pay the bills."
Hey,
it's like you can work in a factory, you can work in the warehouse. McDonald's is opening.
I totally agree, but that's a different conversation. This is the paradigm they're in. I'd like to engage them on the terms they're talking about, because I think fair enough. Like they bought into all of this because it was popular. It's what everyone's doing. It's normal. It's the zeitgeist. And so to expect a 16-year-old girl to be like, I'm too wise to go on Instagram or TikTok and get likes for dancing, and come on, it's unrealistic, right? Normal women are going to do this, and then they're going to get to 25 and realize, my God,
it's so over.
It's so over. How has this happened? I mean, one plastic surgeon has been pointing out that he's seen an uptick in younger people seeking out various things on their faces. And we've covered the bog pilling of very attractive women, where they get the buccal fat removal. And so they get, and it's like, what is wrong with you? Why is, what was it, Megan Fox? Like Megan Fox, one of the most desirable women in the world, took the bog pill. And it's like, what are you doing?
I won't say this is going to sound a bit mean, but after a while, some of them just they do it, and it's just, I find it funny, especially the weird old lady who wanted to look like a cat. She completely destroyed her face with Botox and stuff.
Yeah. But the point is, like, if you're under 25, you definitely don't need Botox or lip fillers or any of that nonsense. Like, that's just,
how will I look 15?
Yeah. It's just, I just
remember the old days.
But this is the thing, because they
hello, ladies, are you losing your 16-year-old looks?
Like this, and this is the problem because, as another person points out, Generation Z are very, very much the sharing generation. Right? They live vicariously through the internet. They are very bourgeois and they live in the opinions of others in their comment sections and on the likes, right? And it's like, okay, I've never been that way. I live my own opinion. I really don't care what that guy thinks, but you do. And so they are very concerned when, when they're 20 or younger than 20, 18, and they're getting like heaps of likes for being a beautiful 18-year-old. They get to 20, they get the first line, and they're like, God, my life is over. Everyone's going to stop
I
liking
need the
my
elixir
photos.
of youth.
Yeah, exactly. And so they seem to be genuinely...
You see that line there? Things I do to slow the aging process as a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Just
It's actually kind of mad.
What I think though is really bad is that one of the tragedies with Gen Z, and I'm not saying that Gen Z is bad or something, because that's a generalization or something, is I think their parents. A lot of them are progressive parents.
Yeah.
And they try to just tell them and raise them in horrible ways. And they think that they have to live very fast.
Mm-hmm.
They feel that, for instance, if they are, let's say, 18 and they haven't done things that, in the previous generation, 30-year-olds would do.
Yeah.
That they have sort of missed the train of life.
Yeah, they have to mature very quickly. And this has made them, as this article points out, just very afraid of aging. And it's just like, it never crossed my mind when I was young. Like I was well into my 30s before I thought about aging. And now it's cool.
That was Gilgamesh.
Yeah. But like they literally realize that ideologically they should be fine with it, right? So they say, my fear of aging sits in total contrast to my liberal views on tolerance and body acceptance. It's like, okay, I'm for tolerance and body acceptance for everyone else. It's like, but why can't you be it for you?
I mean,
it's a lie. It's always been a lie.
That's true. But there is a truth that underpins the lie, which is you actually should be accepting of the fact that you're a human being. And what they're trying to do is sort of narrow the horizon of their existence to the point where they're 18 years old and the most beautiful, the most desirable, the most reflective on social media, the sort of like generation vanity. And so when you inevitably start progressing past that because you get older like everyone else does, you've got yourself in the mindset of like a starlet, because like Madonna's in this mindset, right? It's not that it's never happened, but it's exporting this mindset to normal people because they're constantly seeing their own faces and so they're constantly seeing their own tiny imperfections. So they're constantly, okay, no, I have to fix that. I'm going to get old. I've got to stop this. It's like, no, there is no stopping. You are going to get old, but it's okay because other things happen when you get old. You advance into different stages of life that bring with them other good things, and you forget the things of your youth that you lost because these take precedent.
I think it's marketing. At the end of the day, it's consumerism and consumerist society.
No, because as Callum says, the beauty industry has always been the same. It's always been like this.
Yes, but it can reach for a younger audience with those media platforms.
It's not. I don't think it's about that because when you rarely see your own face, especially when you're looking in the mirror, you get a disproportionate view of your own attractiveness, right? So you look at the mirror in a particular angle, right? And so you're fine with it. And so you walk away thinking you're, on one level of attractiveness. But when you've got photos of yourself and you see yourself on the camera
that aren't all from high angle shots, some of them are from low angle shots, and all of a sudden, oh no, I'm fat.
Yeah, that's literally it. And so you become a lot more focused on your own appearance. And I really think that's the reason that the Gen Zers are different to the generations that have come before, because they are seeing themselves a lot more. And I mean, I would want to look at myself all day. What a horrible thing to have inflicted on me.
Yeah, I know. We have to live with it.
I know. I don't know how you do. But the point is, like, I just don't see why anyone would want to look at themselves all day. And if you did look at yourself all day, you can imagine that you'd be like, okay, I am going to be a bit more concerned about my own looks. But anyway, so this is not just, because we're talking as if this is sort of the thing in the abstract. No, they have a self-consciousness about this, right? That she says, TikTok's endless reminders that I'll never be this hot again. So it's kind of a trend to be like, yeah, this is as hot as I'll ever be, sort of thing. It's like, well, that's not a good thing for like a 19-year-old to do.
Also, not just no. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Mm.
But okay, let's assume that in a way that there is a truth to it. That okay, you're 20 years old, you're never going to be this hot, in 20 years or something. Do you really need that to be the reminder? That's the constant refrain.
I think we should rejuvenate the love people have for cougars.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But and then you've got all of these sort of trends in, I think it's women's TikTok mostly, that talk about this, because men's TikTok is them prattling around, which is actually quite fun. I quite like some of them, to be honest. Where guys are just like doing stupid things. I like those sort of videos. But the point is, she says, social media has made a habit of catastrophizing life after our 20s or 30s. And so for the sort of Zoomer women who are like, yeah, but I'm attractive now. It's like, okay, but what are you doing with that attractiveness? I'm making TikTok videos.
It says there's the expectation that you should be shaking your ass on a yacht.
Yeah. And so this is the sort of waters in which they swim, right? And so they're sat there going, right, so what happens when I'm no longer attractive enough to be picked to be, the sort of the model on Instagram, where people aren't interested in looking at me? What do I do? Well, nothing, because I haven't cultivated a personality. The set of skills I've cultivated is to make myself look beautiful at certain angles. And when my face is like drooping, well, what are you going to do? So this is a terrifying thing to these people. And so they say, we've made a habit of catastrophizing life after our 20s or 30s. You act like your life comes to a screeching halt after a certain milestone birthday, when every rational part of me knows that that's not true. God, get off the internet. It's honestly, it's terrible. And so, it's like they're paralyzed with fear, turning 30 and becoming unattractive hags. Might as well end at 22.
Andrew Tate writing this.
It could be. It could literally be. Right? Life. But you see my point. Like the horizon of the vision of the Zoomers.
Oh, babe, you don't look a day over 14. Don't worry about it. This is almost pedophilic in the sense here. It's just like, God, 30. Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's bonkers, right? But this is what Generation Z women are telling themselves, because the horizon of their vision ends at, I'm attractive in my 20s, and once that's over, it's all over. Like, I've got nothing left with my life, and it's just mad.
Live fast, die young.
Well, not
by suicide.
Well, that's why the suicide of that woman made them all think, oh, there we go, she got to 29 and just ended it. Like, and I'm not saying she did. I don't think she did. I have no idea. We don't know. But a lot of people responded as if that were the case, and that's just mad. Like, but this,
I want to comment.
It's not funny.
Like, when my friends turn 30, I'm just going to comment underneath, unattractive hag.
Don't do that.
Of course not. It's mental. What a mental thing to think. It's just,
it's wild, right? And so, but what it speaks to is a culture that only rewards a certain very narrow band of a person's life. Like, you get to 22 and you're an attractive woman on the internet, boom, you get lots of approval. You're not going to get that when you're 30. It's going to really drop off cliff. So that's going to be like I said, the horizon of your vision. That's all you can see. And that's really terrible, because in previous eras, the culture had messaging for men and women at different stages of their life. And that's clearly just fallen away. Even the millennials understood that, like, their boomer and Gen X parents, like, had stages in life that they were going to go through.
Yeah.
Even millennials had this. But the Gen Zers are just like, well, I mean, I'm just going to be a hag at 30. It's like,
the only thing they postpone, though, is having a family, if they end up having one.
Yeah, exactly. And then
31, crone.
Yeah, exactly.
32, corpse.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what I
ghouls. Tell ye. Oh boy.
I mean, it really is that they're getting to that point, right? In just the past few days, this woman says, I've seen multiple Gen Zs, the vast majority women, she says, on various platforms, including Reddit and Instagram, express a desire to unalive in their 30s when they reach 40, because they cannot handle the fact that they will age and become unattractive or become hags. It's like,
oh, that just makes me laugh.
40-year-old women aren't actually hags. They're 40. That's it. It's not the end of the world. Normally by that point,
Yeah, but
built a family.
There's a question though. If you're a hag at 30, do you get a pension? Do you get a pension?
Lower the pension age. Like Andrew Tate takes over the country. Pension age lowered to 30 for women. It's over.
No. It's not. No. It's not even pension. It's going to be like botted likes on Instagram, right? That'll be the pension.
Oh no!
Because it's not about money. It's about recognition.
Indian call centers that are made just for liking Instagram posts.
Yeah. You okay there, Stanios?
No, it's not I'm not on peak form.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically they're going to have to be bot farms for 30-year-old hag Instagram users.
I saw white hair on my head. That's why I couldn't breathe.
Anyway, so this some have even expressed not bothering with healthy eating habits, saving money, or planning on having careers because they feel so strongly about this. I don't think this is necessarily our fault.
Come on, you have to be on my side at that point where it's like, I'm going to eat like shit, not save the future. And then be like, it's not our fault that things are going this way.
Well, their future was over at 22, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's
Enjoy poverty and being fat.
Yeah. I mean, just ladies, you're going to live for decades after this. Decades. When you leave the Instagram phase. Like, you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do after you're not getting, like, grim old men, pervy, liking your Instagram photos. So, I mean, who does it?
Worse than death.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think's doing that? Like with my OnlyFans, well, eventually they're not going to do it.
I see a good comment here from the Jennifer Connelly has aged quite gracefully. I think that's good.
Yeah, sure, but like, it's
she's a hag.
She's a hag because she's in her 50s or something. But like, you're going to come to a point in your life where actually your attractiveness isn't the main thing about you. So you're going to have to develop a personality. I'm sorry to say.
An attractive personality.
Yeah, you're going to have to be pleasant to get along with.
No.
I mean, look at this woman, right?
I want to be a bitch my whole life.
Yeah.
I want to be a terrible person. No.
I'm 29. The fear of turning 30 is getting to me. I have no kids. I feel like I'm running out of time. I still don't have my life figured out. I'm missing something. Right. So this is the point where I want to get to, where it's like, yes, that's exactly true. And that's what women do go through when they get into their 30s, because they start really desperately wanting to have children. So you wait.
Typical.
And I hate to say this, but this is just what traditional morality and society had figured out. You use your 20s to get the husband that you want. So in your 30s and 40s, you have a partner that you love to raise children with you. And then your 50s and your 60s, you end up enjoying the sort of sunset years of your life together, right? That was the point of a life path that almost everyone of my generation and older followed.
Yeah, but who's gonna look at them if at 21 they have a wrinkle?
Their husbands, a person who loves them, but they've farmed out their desire for recognition and approval to people on the internet rather than the person that is stood next to them and loves them. The person they can actually spend their time with. And so, yes, they end up in this place where you go, well, I'm 30 nearly. I have no kids. I obviously don't have a husband. I'm missing something. So, yeah, because at the end of the day, the hyper reality of the internet isn't the biological reality of you as a woman and who has various imperatives within you.
She also had some heart tattoos on her body, on various parts.
Okay. I don't think that's going to mean that she can't get married.
No,
it's over. It's so over.
It's over. And so you get them saying things like, so much of my generation basically views life after college as one long, pointless, depressing downward slide towards a nursing home and death, wrote one Gen Zer. In the minds of many young people, life may as well end at 22 because what even comes after? What comes after 22? 23, idiots. Like
21.
So look, I mean, what scares you about 30? Just turn 30 and it's great. Over no light. Yeah. See, your life isn't over. You will have built a life of yourself. You would have built yourself up. You would have increased your personal wealth. You would have built social relationships, connections. So you spend time with people. You go on holidays. You actually live as a human being after 22, believe it or not. It's not just taxes, wrinkles, and losing your hair. And I'm not even bringing up, the joy of having a family. Like every day, things are good for me because I get to spend time with my kids. But anyway, they literally have no idea of what they ought to be doing, is the point. They just sat there going, but I can't post on Instagram because people won't like it because I have grey hair now or something. well, then what am I doing with my life? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. What are you doing in your life? What do you want?
Imagine a Gen Z mother in the future watching her children grow 20 and say, I've watched them grow old. It's such a privilege.
Just at 22, it's like, oh, your life is over now, daughter. And so the question is, well, what can be done? Well, there are a couple of things. Just stop looking at your face all day. That's the first thing. Just stop looking at your own face. And if that means getting on social media, then do your best to get on social media. But whatever you're using on social media, just stop looking at your own face. You don't need to see it every day. It's not that important, actually. And just try and think of yourself in 3 dimensions. You don't only exist in the now. You existed in the past, and you're going to exist in the future. Maybe that matters. Plan for it. What?
It is like talking to a child, though.
Yes, it is. But I don't.
I considered having a personality.
Isn't that
Yes.
4 dimensions?
Time, yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a physician either. Don't
Don't put yourself down.
no, I can't operate on anything. But yeah, you are going to exist now, but also tomorrow, and also later on. So have a plan for it now, because the things you do now will pay off then. And this is just I'm not even joking, because this is not something that our Western culture does try and inculcate into people. Like, you don't get this kind of messaging anywhere. In none of the media, none of the movies, none of the general pop culture, you get the message. Hang on, no, there is actually something to come. So if you start building the foundations now, you get the benefits of it then, and you want those things. All these women are like, oh, it's like, I don't have kids. It's like, yeah, I know you want these things. I know you've been told right up until this point that babies ruin your life, but that's actually not true. They really enrich your life. And now you're like, oh my God, but I'm going to have this biological impulse that gnaws at my heart all day, every day, and for the next 40 years, and I'm never going to have kids. It's like, yeah, well, plan for it. You need to make the plan for it now. Don't waste your time. And the likes on Instagram really weren't worth it, were they? What did they actually bring you? But anyway, I guess we'll leave that there.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as Common Sense Crusade with Calvin Robinson. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.